Hey everybody, welcome to Technically Gifted. I figured the best way to start things off was introducing myself, as well as my journey of how I got to where I'm at, being a software engineer at 23.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. In high school, I had a great teacher that found it really important to know the basics of a computer and how they worked. I think everybody took the typing classes and things like that, but she spent a big amount of time on things like Scratch and how the computer will process different things, and as well as maybe indulging in a little bit of the less finer fruits of computers. Some of us knew how to hack or do things we probably shouldn't do, like back in the day, being able to pull IPs from an Xbox game and spit out an address. So things like that she definitely advocated for and told us to keep indulging and like pursuing these things that can lead to different careers like forensics, maybe a computer science degree, which I did follow. And it led a lot of us that were in her classes on different paths. And we have people like that are in security researching, IT. It's a lot of different avenues just because of this one teacher. So I'm definitely thankful for that. Because of this, as I alluded to before, I knew I wanted to go to college and be a computer scientist. Now with that, I didn't understand if I wanted to go do a master's, a PhD, or if I wanted to go and directly be in the professional field. But what this really led me to was a journey of doing it not for the money. And that is something that I will always stand by with computer science and anything in the tech field. You can never do it for the money, because at the end of the day, it can get very tedious, it can get very hard, a lot of doors can close in your face. So that's definitely the biggest rule I have for anybody getting into tech. Don't do it for the money. And I'm very happy to have naturally stumbled upon that path. But at college, I went to Oberlin College. I played football there. Like everybody else, I had dreams to go to the NFL. Did not work out for me. I played D3 just like the movie. It was great. It was a great time. I'll never regret going there. But but going there also made me focus on school, because I had to realize that the NFL maybe wasn't going to happen. In fact, it didn't happen, and I was not very close. But it was very good to be forced to focus on both. You know, I think if I had made it farther up the ladder, even D2, I may not have been as focused on school. As far as college went, I definitely struggled just like anybody in certain courses. Everybody knows the intro to CS classes are pretty much weed out courses. If you can make it through that, it actually gets easier, which is really surprising. I always try to tell people that. But then when you get into something like data structures or algorithms, or even some colleges make you take discrete mathematics, those courses are challenging in a different way, because you're learning to think logically. And that's a huge thing about my journey too, that I realized being a computer scientist, being a software engineer, doing anything AI related, it's not about can you solve any problem. No, it's about can you think logically through problems? Can you understand the root of a problem and break a very complex structure down into something simple? And that's something I work on every day too, because I realize the best engineers that I'm surrounded with are able to take these massive, complex, big picture items, break them down into something small that anybody can understand. And that's great knowledge, and that's a great skill to have, and I think it takes a lot of people a long way, on top of being charismatic and excited to come to work every day. With that being said, following college, I was not one of the lucky people to get a FANG internship. I interviewed even for companies like Google, and I would feel like I did really well, but the bar is so high that I just could not pass it. And this is kind of what I mean when I say a lot of doors get closed in your face, especially at these top companies, even for high growth companies in tech. The bar is really high. There's a lot of candidates at the new grad role and for people going for internships, because you don't necessarily need a lot of qualifications, but the people who do meet those qualifications really excel them. So you have to be great in interviews. And sometimes interviews also don't test real world knowledge. They're going to test more theoretical knowledge, which can be hard for a lot of people. But yeah, this led me to being a volunteer. Once again, the theme of not doing it for the money really sticks out here in my journey becoming a software engineer. I volunteered for a county in Georgia working on courtroom software, helping people pull reports so they know who could be in what courtroom, migrating the databases to a newer system using SQL, things like that. It was an amazing experience. And once again, I think volunteering really put me in a mindset of don't do it for the money, and learn to kind of love what I'm doing and enjoy the ins and outs, right? Because not everyone's blessed to be able to even volunteer and find a space in tech. And I will say, I think that volunteering on a smaller scale and not for some huge tech company really allowed me to get one-on-one knowledge and mentorship. One of the things that I really learned that will always stick with me is SQL and database knowledge that I learned directly from them before ever taking a college course on it. And I actually got interviewed. Gotta love Atlanta. We love our loud vehicles here. But when I got interviewed for my job with Twilio, I actually had a whole interview section about databases, and I kind of giggled when I first joined because what I volunteered for in my internship turned out to be great experience for me. And that's how I got to where I'm at. It's by taking a volunteer, do it for free before I got paid, role, and now I get paid at a high growth tech company, Twilio, as I alluded to before. Now, going on my job search after that volunteer and after I graduated, I once again could not get a FANG job. I actually interviewed with companies like JP Morgan and other things, and other companies that are more fintech based as well. And I would definitely say that the FANG companies, if you are a person that does not do well at theoretical knowledge, not good, right? That's why I struggled always in those interviews. I did really well in the interviews with the smaller companies or less tech-based companies, or ones that weren't as high up on the ladder as like a FANG, because they asked more real-world knowledge. They put more weight into things like behavioral questions. They're looking for more of a fit than can you just code for me? Can you just be a cog in a machine? And I think that's one thing I really liked about every smaller company or less technically high up the ladder company that I interviewed for, was that it felt very natural. It felt like they actually wanted to get to know me. So that's another thing you can take with you about my journey, I think, that I really loved, is maybe FANG isn't for everybody. The bar is high, culture is hard. It's obviously rewarding when you're in there. It's a great lifestyle for most. But just keep in mind that there's other avenues to make a good living and enjoy where you're at. That's pretty much a very high level overview of my journey of how I went from high school to college to now where I'm at. I think for the channel as a whole, it's important to know my journey and what I hold weight in, so that we can move forward. And anybody who has any suggestions or questions, or if they want to share their own story, can drop it in the comment section, and then we can even pull up an interview and have talks with different people or different viewers. Because really, this is supposed to be a space to share knowledge, share experiences, and honestly share mistakes, so that if anybody's going on the path behind you, they don't feel scared to take any step forward, because they have everything at their hands to make the best decision possible for where they're at. So yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Let's move forward and let's expand this knowledge base for everybody.